Hey there, deep divers. Ready to strap on those hard hats and safety goggles?
Always.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Because today we're doing a deep dive into AI and corporate health and safety.
Awesome.
And our guide for this deep dive is a brand new market research report from April 2025 by Kognition.Info. You with me?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll be totally up to speed on this fast-moving market. So whether you're a business leader or a tech enthusiast, an investor, or just someone who wants to see safer workplaces, this deep dive is for you.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's a really fascinating area with a lot happening, especially when you consider how big of a problem AI is trying to solve.
Okay, so let's jump right into that. How big of a deal are workplace incidents when it comes to costs? Like, paint us a picture.
Well, the numbers are pretty eye-opening. Globally, workplace injuries and illnesses are costing the world a massive $3.2 trillion every year.
Trillion with a T.
That's right, trillion with a T. And that's about 4% of the global GDP. Imagine, that's like the entire German economy vanishing every year because of workplace accidents.
Whoa, that really puts it into perspective.
Right.
So I can see why businesses are desperate for solutions, any solutions, to stop that kind of loss.
Exactly, and that's where AI comes in. That huge financial burden is pushing companies to invest in advanced safety technologies like AI. The potential for cutting down those incident rates and the costs that come with them is just too big to ignore.
So AI is kind of like the knight in shining armor coming to the rescue. But how exactly is AI changing the game in health and safety?
hmm
Is it replacing human workers or working alongside them?
Right now, it's more about AI working with humans, not replacing them. AI is revolutionizing health and safety in a bunch of ways, but one of the most powerful areas is predictive analytics. Instead of just reacting to accidents after they happen, imagine being able to analyze data and spot those risks before anything even goes wrong.
Wow, that's like having a crystal ball that can predict accidents. But how does it actually work? Can you give us an example?
Absolutely. Let's say you're running a construction site. An AI system can crunch data from a ton of sources, near-miss reports, sensor readings from equipment, even what workers are saying about potential hazards. Let's say the system sees a pattern of near misses involving workers tripping on uneven ground in a certain area, and the weather forecast is predicting rain. The AI puts all this information together and could predict a high chance of slips and falls in that area and warn the site managers so they can take action.
That's wild. It's like the AI is connecting the dots that we humans might miss. So it's a shift from reacting to accidents to actually preventing them.
Yeah.
What other ways is AI making a difference? What about those camera systems we keep hearing about?
Those are all about computer vision, which is another area where AI is really shining. These AI-powered systems use cameras to keep an eye on the workplace 24/7, watching for any unsafe conditions or actions. It's like having a super focused safety supervisor who never gets tired or looks away. It can spot those things that humans might miss or not notice after a while, especially if they're doing the same thing for hours.
So it would catch someone forgetting to wear their safety goggles.
You got it. The system would immediately pick up on that violation and alert the worker, maybe even send out an automated reminder over the loudspeaker. And it doesn't stop at goggles. It can monitor everything from people lifting things incorrectly to missing guardrails or even someone who's not supposed to be in a certain area.
That's incredible. But it's not all about physical safety, right? I've seen AI popping up in those apps people use to track their steps and stuff.
Absolutely. AI is changing how we manage workplace health overall. Take occupational health platforms, for example. They're using AI to keep tabs on everything from physical health to mental well-being, and they can even suggest personalized advice. It's like having a personal health coach right in your pocket.
Okay, so far so good. This is all pretty amazing. But I'm curious, what's driving this massive growth in the AI health and safety market? Is it just companies trying to save money?
Well, saving money is definitely a huge factor, especially when you think about those massive costs we talked about earlier. But it's not the only thing. There are more and more health and safety regulations popping up globally, and that's pushing organizations to adopt AI to stay compliant.
So it's partly about staying on the right side of the law. What about the labor market? How's that playing into this?
It's a tough time because there's a real shortage of qualified safety professionals worldwide. The demand is way higher than the supply. So AI systems are looking really good to companies who are struggling to fill those roles. AI can really boost the abilities of the safety teams they already have, freeing them up to handle more complex tasks.
It's like AI is stepping in to fill a knowledge gap, which makes sense given how complex workplaces are these days.
You got it. Plus, the technology itself is becoming more accessible. We're seeing a perfect storm of advancements in things like IoT sensors, edge computing, and faster internet speeds, creating this ideal breeding ground for AI in health and safety.
Hold on, edge computing. For those who aren't familiar with the term, could you break that down for us?
Sure thing. Imagine this. Usually, data from all those sensors and cameras would have to travel all the way to the cloud to be processed. That takes time and bandwidth. With edge computing, the data gets analyzed right there on the device itself or a server that's nearby. This means faster processing and less data flying around, which is super important for anything that needs real-time safety responses.
So it's like having a tiny brain right on the device making split-second decisions. That's super important on a busy construction site or factory floor where every second counts.
Absolutely. It's all about making the system as responsive and efficient as possible.
Okay, so we've got rising costs, stricter rules, not enough safety pros, and all this amazing tech coming together. It's like the perfect recipe for pushing AI to the front of the line in workplace safety.
You nailed it.
So how big is this market right now? And how fast is it growing? Hit us with the numbers.
Oh, it's booming, no doubt about it. The AI and health and safety market globally is projected to hit a whopping $9.2 billion by 2028, and that translates to a compound annual growth rate of 31.4%. Investors are definitely paying attention, looking for that next big opportunity.
Wow, that's some serious growth. So who are the big players in this space? Is it mostly startups or are those giant tech companies getting involved too?
We're actually seeing a really interesting mix of players, long-standing industrial safety software companies, brand new AI startups, those big tech giants you mentioned, and even consulting firms. It's a very dynamic landscape.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting. Can you give us a bit more detail on those categories? Who are the established players and what are they good at and what are they maybe not so good at?
Right. The established players, the ones who've been in the industrial safety software game for a while, are companies like Intellex, Coterity, Enablon, and Velocity EHS. They've been providing what's known as EHS software, that stands for Environmental, Health, and Safety Software, for years. Now they're adding AI capabilities to what they already offer. Their big advantage is that they really know the safety industry inside and out, and they've got those long-standing relationships with customers.
So they've got the experience, but are they keeping pace with all these new super agile AI companies?
They're definitely trying to stay ahead, but it's not always easy when it comes to how advanced their AI is. It's kind of like trying to turn a giant ship around quickly. They might have the size and resources, but sometimes they lack that speed and nimbleness that the smaller, more focused startups have.
I can see that. So who are those disruptors, the AI startups that are really shaking things up?
Companies like Intensi, CompScience, Everguard.ai, and Safe AI are building AI solutions specifically for certain health and safety problems. They're the specialists, zeroing in on solving very specific issues.
I bet they're attracting a ton of investment money.
You bet. Investors are pouring money into these companies because they see that potential for really fast growth and innovation.
But even they must face challenges, right?
Mm.
Being the new kids on the block in such a huge market.
Of course. They often run into roadblocks when it comes to growing their business and gaining credibility in the enterprise market. It's a classic David and Goliath story.
Speaking of Goliaths, what about the big tech players? Are they making moves in this market?
Oh, absolutely. Those big enterprise tech companies like Microsoft, Google, and Amazon are definitely major players. They're offering AI safety features through their cloud platforms and building solutions tailored for specific industries.
So they're using their existing tech and AI know-how to get a foot in the door.
Exactly. They've got the advantage of having really advanced AI capabilities, tons of computing power, and the ability to seamlessly integrate with the systems companies are already using. However, they don't always have that deep understanding of the specific safety needs of different industries. It's like they've got all the tools, but they need a bit more experience actually using those tools in this field.
It seems like there's room for everyone in this market, from those established players to those scrappy startups and the big tech giants.
You're absolutely right. And we can't forget about the consulting firms who are getting in on the action too. Big names like Deloitte, EY, and KPMG have developed AI-powered safety solutions that work hand in hand with their advisory services.
Interesting. So they're offering a sort of one-stop shop for companies looking for both expert advice and cutting-edge tech solutions.
Exactly. They're bringing their years of experience helping companies navigate complex challenges and combining that with their AI-powered tools to offer a more complete solution.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good idea of who the major players are. Let's shift gears and talk about how AI is actually being used to make workplaces safer and healthier. What are some real-world applications and the impact they're having?
One of the most promising areas is using computer vision to detect hazards. These systems use cameras and AI algorithms to continuously watch workplaces and spot unsafe conditions, behaviors, and potential dangers all in real time.
So it's like having a tireless set of eyes constantly scanning the workplace for anything that's out of place.
You got it. They can spot things like workers not wearing the right safety gear, hazardous spills, or even unsafe work practices. And because they're always watching, they can pick up on things that human inspectors might miss.
That seems especially important in industries like construction or manufacturing, where there's always so much going on and potential dangers lurking around every corner.
Absolutely. But it's not just about spotting hazards after the fact. AI can also help stop them from happening in the first place.
Really? How so?
Well, there are these platforms that use predictive incident analytics. It's another exciting area. These platforms use AI to analyze information from a bunch of sources, like incident reports, near misses, sensor readings, and even weather forecasts, to spot patterns and predict potential accidents before they even occur.
Hold on. So is it kind of like those systems that recommend products you might like based on your internet browsing history, but for safety?
That's actually a great analogy. Instead of suggesting products, these systems identify those potential hazards and recommend ways to prevent them.
That's pretty amazing. Can you give us a specific example of how this would play out in a real workplace?
Sure. Let's say you're managing a warehouse where there are forklifts moving around all the time. The AI could look at past data on forklift accidents and near misses, combine that with real-time info on where the forklifts are and where workers are located, and then pinpoint situations where there's a high risk of a collision. Then the system could alert the forklift drivers and supervisors to take preventative action, like changing the traffic flow or providing extra training.
It's like having a virtual safety manager constantly looking at the data and brainstorming ways to stop accidents before they happen.
Exactly. And it doesn't stop at preventing accidents. These platforms can also track trends in near misses, giving us valuable insights into where safety procedures need to be tightened up.
Wow, it sounds like AI is playing a key role in making workplaces safer and healthier for everyone.
It truly is. And we're only just scratching the surface of what's possible. As AI technology continues to evolve, we can expect to see even more innovative applications pop up in the coming years.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how AI is transforming this whole field. And we're not just talking about stopping accidents from happening, but also making sure people are feeling good overall.
That's an interesting angle. You don't usually think about well-being when talking about safety at work, but it makes a lot of sense.
Totally. They're definitely connected.
Yeah.
And that's where these integrated occupational health management platforms come in. They use AI to manage a workforce's health more holistically. They're recognizing that employee well-being and safety go hand in hand. So these platforms are looking at the bigger picture of how workers are doing, not just trying to prevent injuries, right?
Exactly. These platforms are pulling data from a bunch of different places, like those wearable fitness trackers everyone's wearing, environmental sensors, and even employee surveys to get a complete view of someone's health.
Wait a minute, so my Fitbit could be part of a workplace safety system. That's kind of crazy.
It's not as out there as you might think. Imagine a system that could spot early signs of stress or fatigue by looking at a worker's sleep patterns or heart rate variability. It could even analyze how they're interacting with their tools.
Okay, this is starting to feel a bit like Big Brother's watching. Are there any privacy concerns with this kind of technology?
Privacy is absolutely huge, and it's something companies need to be really open about. The key is to use this data responsibly and ethically, and the goal should always be to improve worker well-being and safety, not to spy on them.
So it's all about striking that balance between using data to help people and making sure people feel comfortable and respected.
You got it. And it's not just about monitoring. These platforms are also giving personalized recommendations and suggesting ways to make things better. Let's say the system sees that someone's not getting enough sleep. It could recommend resources to help them improve their sleep habits, or even suggest tweaking their work schedule so they can get more rest.
So it's kind of like having a virtual wellness coach who's always looking out for you.
That's a great way to think about it. And these platforms can be super valuable in industries where workers are exposed to dangerous stuff or risky environments.
Oh, right. Like miners or people who work in factories. How does AI help keep them safe?
AI can track their exposure levels over time to make sure they're not being exposed to more than is safe. The system can also send them an alert if they enter a high-risk area without wearing the proper protective gear.
It's like having this extra layer of protection to make sure nothing slips through the cracks.
Exactly. And it's not limited to physical health. AI can also play a part in supporting mental well-being in the workplace.
I'm really interested in that. Mental health is so important, especially these days. How can AI help with that?
Well, these platforms can use AI to analyze what employees are saying in emails, surveys, or even social media posts to figure out who might be dealing with stress, anxiety, or burnout.
That sounds pretty advanced. But wouldn't that make people feel like someone's always looking over their shoulder?
It really depends on how the data is used and how the system is set up. The point isn't to spy on employees, but to be proactive and offer support and resources to those who might need it.
So it's about creating this environment of care and support at work.
Exactly. It's about moving beyond that old school view of safety and realizing that when an employee is doing well overall, it's a huge part of creating a work environment that's truly safe and productive.
Okay, so we've talked about how AI can prevent accidents and make sure people are feeling good. But what about those times when there is an actual emergency? How can AI help in those situations?
That's where things get really interesting. We're starting to see these autonomous emergency response systems pop up. They use AI to manage and coordinate how people respond to emergencies, things like fires, chemical spills, or natural disasters.
So it's like having an AI first responder that can jump into action quickly and make decisions when every second matters.
Exactly. These systems can take data from a whole bunch of places like security cameras, fire alarms, and even weather reports to quickly figure out what's happening and decide the best way to respond.
Wow, that's incredible. Can
Yeah.
you give us a real-life scenario of how that would work?
Sure. Let's say there's a fire in a big office building. An AI-powered emergency response system could instantly detect the fire using smoke detectors and security cameras. Then it could automatically set off the building's alarm system, call the fire department, and guide people to the closest exits using digital signs and announcements over the loudspeaker.
It's like the AI takes over as the brain of the building, coordinating the whole response effort.
You got it. And because it's all automated, the response is much faster and more efficient than waiting for humans to make all those decisions in a super stressful situation.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. In an emergency, people tend to panic, but the AI can stay calm and follow the procedures.
Exactly. And it's not just about speed either. These systems can also adjust evacuation routes based on what's happening in real time, like how crowded the exits are and where the fire is, to make sure people can get out safely and quickly.
That's pretty amazing. It's like the AI is constantly adapting to the situation and figuring out the best way to keep everyone safe.
It's all about making the response as effective as possible and minimizing the risk of anyone getting hurt, or worse, losing their lives.
Okay, so we've got AI helping to prevent accidents, boost well-being, and manage emergencies. What other exciting developments are on the horizon?
One area I'm particularly excited about is using augmented reality, or AR, for safety. It's still early days, but there's a lot of potential there.
I've heard about AR being used for gaming and shopping, but for safety.
Yeah.
That's a new one for me.
It's a total game changer. Imagine a worker wearing a pair of AR glasses that can show them digital information layered right over their real-world view.
So it's like having X-ray vision for safety hazards.
You got it.
Yeah.
Picture a construction worker wearing AR glasses that can highlight things they might trip over, show where underground utilities are buried, or even display real-time data on how strong the building they're working on is.
Whoa, that's incredible. It's like having a virtual safety expert walking around with you, pointing at all the important stuff.
Exactly. And it's not limited to just visual information. These AR systems can also give audio cues and alerts, warning workers about potential dangers, or reminding them to follow safety procedures.
So it's like having a personal safety coach right in your ear.
You nailed it. And because the information pops up right when and where the worker needs it, it's much more likely to stick with them.
That makes sense. It's one thing to read about safety procedures in a manual, but it's completely different to have those reminders right in front of you while you're doing the actual work.
Absolutely. AR can be a real game changer for new or inexperienced workers who might not be as aware of potential hazards.
So it's like giving them an extra set of eyes and ears, making sure they stay safe while they're learning the ropes.
Exactly. And as AR technology keeps getting better, we're going to see even more innovative ways to use it in the years to come.
This is all very exciting, but we've been focusing on the positive side of AI. Are there any potential downsides or challenges that we need to be thinking about?
There are definitely challenges. One of the biggest is making sure the data is good quality and accurate. AI systems are only as good as the data they're trained on, so we need to make sure the data is clean, reliable, and unbiased.
So it's that old saying, garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. And then there are the concerns about privacy and keeping data secure. These systems collect a lot of sensitive information about workers, so it's super important to have strong safeguards in place to protect their privacy and prevent that data from being misused.
Those are important points. What about the impact on jobs? Are people worried that AI is going to replace human workers in the safety field?
There's always that worry about automation taking over jobs, but when it comes to AI and health and safety, I think it's more about AI boosting what humans can do, not replacing them altogether.
So instead of getting rid of safety professionals, AI can free them up to focus on the more complex stuff that really needs human judgment and expertise.
That's the idea. Think of it as a team effort between humans and AI, where everyone's playing to their strengths to create a safer and healthier work environment.
That's a much more positive way to look at it.
Sure.
So what's next for AI in health and safety? What trends are you seeing emerge?
One of the most interesting trends is the increasing focus on making things more personal. We're starting to see AI systems that can tailor safety recommendations and advice to each individual worker based on their unique needs and the risks they face.
That's fascinating. Can you give us an example of how that might work?
Sure, let's say you have two workers in a factory doing similar jobs, but one is more experienced and the other is still learning the ropes. A personalized AI system could provide different safety training and suggestions to each worker, making sure they both have the knowledge and support they need to work safely.
It's like creating a custom-made safety plan for every single worker.
Exactly. Another trend I'm seeing is using AI for continuous learning and improvement. Instead of just looking at past data, AI systems are now being used to keep tabs on safety performance in real time and figure out how to make things even better.
So it's like having an AI safety consultant constantly analyzing data and looking for ways to improve safety procedures.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just about tweaking processes. AI is also being used to develop new safety technologies and equipment that are smarter and more effective at preventing accidents.
So it's like a never-ending cycle of innovation, with AI playing a key role in driving progress.
You got it. And as AI technology keeps advancing, we can expect even more exciting developments in the years to come.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, but there's one more area I want to touch on before we wrap things up. It's the human element.
Definitely. We can't forget about the people who are at the center of all this.
Right. We've talked about all these amazing AI technologies, but in the end, it's the people who have to use them and make sure they're being used effectively. How can companies make sure their employees are comfortable with this new world of AI-powered safety?
That's a great question. I think one of the most important things is to be transparent. Companies need to be upfront with their workers about how they're using AI for safety and what information they're collecting.
So it's about building trust and making sure workers feel like they're part of the solution, not the problem.
Exactly. Another key thing is education. A lot of people are still unfamiliar with AI, and they might have some misconceptions about what it can and can't do. Companies need to provide training and education to help their employees understand AI, what its benefits are, and how it can make their jobs safer.
It's about giving workers the knowledge and the tools to feel confident and comfortable using AI.
Exactly. And it's also important to acknowledge any concerns employees might have about their privacy or whether their jobs are safe.
Those are big worries for a lot of people, I imagine.
They are. Companies need to have open and honest conversations with their employees about these issues and make sure they know how their rights and interests are being protected.
So it's about creating a dialogue and making sure everyone feels heard and respected.
You're absolutely right. Building trust and getting people on board is essential for any new technology to be successful, especially something as potentially game-changing as AI.
Okay, so transparency, education, and open communication are crucial.
Yeah.
Anything else?
One more thing. Companies need to show their employees how AI is actually beneficial to them. It's not enough to just say that AI is going to make their jobs safer.
They need to actually see it working. Right?
Exactly. They need to see how AI is actually preventing accidents, improving working conditions, and making their lives easier. And they should be rewarded for embracing these new technologies and using them effectively.
So it's about creating a workplace culture where AI is seen as a helpful tool, not a scary threat.
Exactly. And remember, AI isn't some magical solution. It's a powerful tool that can help create safer and healthier workplaces. but it needs to be used thoughtfully and responsibly.
It really feels like we're at this turning point for how we think about safety at work, and AI is leading the way.
I totally agree. It's an exciting time to be part of this field.
So before we finish up this deep dive, I'd love to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. How will AI affect the future of work in general, not just in terms of safety?
That's a great point. One of the biggest things is that AI could really change what jobs look like and what skills people will need. As AI systems get smarter and smarter, they'll be able to do a lot of the tasks that humans are doing right now.
So it seems inevitable that some jobs will become automated. But I guess that also means new jobs will be created, right?
Oh, absolutely. We'll see a growing need for people who can design, develop, and manage those AI systems. Plus, we'll need people who can bridge the gap between the technology and the human workers, making sure that AI is being used ethically and effectively.
So it's not just about those tech skills. It's also about those human skills,
Right.
things like communication, teamwork, and critical thinking.
Exactly. Those softer skills will be even more important as AI becomes more common.
What about the impact on workplace culture? Do you think AI will change how we interact with each other at work?
I think it could go either way. On the one hand, AI can help to create workplaces that are more efficient and productive, giving human workers more time to focus on the things that require creativity and have more meaning.
That sounds pretty good. But what about the potential downsides?
Well, there's that risk that AI could lead to a workplace that feels less personal and less human if we're not careful. If we lean too heavily on technology, we might forget about the importance of human connection at work.
So the goal is to use AI in a way that enhances human connection and well-being, not replaces it.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance.
This has been such an insightful deep dive. Honestly, I wasn't sure what to think about AI in the workplace at first, but now I'm starting to see how much potential it has to create safer, healthier, and more productive workplaces for everyone.
I'm glad to hear that. It's something I'm really passionate about.
So before we sign off, what's the one big takeaway you want our listeners to remember from our conversation today?
The main thing to remember is that AI is a tool. It's a really powerful tool, but it's still just a tool. Ultimately, it's up to us as humans to decide how we're going to use it. We can use it to create a future of work that's safer, healthier, and more fulfilling for everyone, or we can let it take over and lead us down a path where work becomes automated and impersonal.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
It reminds us that we all have a responsibility to shape the future of work.
Absolutely. We need to be having these discussions now while AI is still in its early stages so we can make sure we're using it to create a better future for all of us.
Well said. And on that note, I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI in corporate health and safety. It's been an incredible journey, and I hope you found it as informative and thought-provoking as I have.
It was my pleasure to be here.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay safe.